Hey folks, I'm Dave. Welcome to the basement, and it is time for part two of my CD collection update for May 2024. And got the usual stack here. Most of it's 90s stuff, some independent stuff as well to talk about. But I'm going to start it off with what could loosely be referred to as a recent release. This actually came out in 2023, and this is Night Owls by the Dollyrots. I really dig that foil cover there. Kind of cool. Anyway, this came out on Wicked Cool Records, and it is the band's ninth album, I believe. And for those unfamiliar with the Dollyrots, they are a female-fronted pop punk band out of Florida. So if you're into bands like Bowling for Soup or Blink, this is a band that you're probably going to want to know about if you don't already. So the title track that's probably a really good one to check out. I mean, it's a fun song, kind of about living the nightlife, hence the name. And listen, if you do check it out, listen closely. It sounds like there's a sample of the Cars moving in stereo, maybe. Let me know what you think if you happen to check it out, or if you know the song already. Another fun track was Hot Mom with the Skinny Pants On. Yeah, that's a anthem for all the cougars out there. And then the album closes with the song New England, which is a pretty good cover of a 1983 Billy Bragg song that I think was more of a hit when Christy McCool covered it. But yeah, so like I said, it is kind of formulaic pop punk, but there's really good energy, and singer Kelly Ogden. She has a really good voice. I mean, it kind of sounds like sort of a punk pixie sort of voice. So I really enjoyed it. And like I say, if you're into just the fun popcorn sort of pop punk, give Dollyrots a try. So this is well, I'll get there. This is Night Owls by the Dollyrots. All right, this next one is from the 90s, and it's an independent CD or independently released CD. A few videos back, I can't remember, I should have probably looked it up before I even started talking, but one of my previous CD updates, I talked about a band called Kung Fu Diesel, local Michigan band from sort of the south central area of the state, around by Jackson, actually from a village called Parma. And I talked about their debut album, and this one actually is their second album. It is called Hometown Jive, came out in 1997, and then, like I said, self-released. And this is not on vinyl. So if you're wanting to check out Kung Fu Diesel, this album in particular, or even their first album, not going to be something you're going to get on vinyl. At least not yet. Maybe one day. But, so yeah, like I said in their debut, the band sounds just got this great sort of rockabilly mix of twangy guitar and this thumping upright bass. It's just really great. There's a hint, more than a hint sometimes, of Primus going on, which is really cool. I like that. If you want to check out some songs from this album, Mississippi Highway is a really good, fun driving tune. One Time Love is really groovy, gets a bit of a funk beat going to it. Lucy, that one's got a really, really heavy 70s sort of funk drive to it. Yeah, it's been one of those weeks, guys. Anyway, but if you can find it, and again, I should have looked this up to see if it is even out on YouTube somewhere. There's a song called Why'd You Run. This is probably my favorite Kung Fu Diesel track out of this album and their debut. Just got such a killer drive to the bass groove, real moving track. I really enjoyed it. That's a fun track. Now, after this album, I think they released maybe three more albums, and that's where things, you can get these first two relatively inexpensively. The other ones are just, I've never seen them out in the wild even around here, and if you look online, they're starting to get a little pricey. So if you're going to get Kung Fu Diesel, it's either going to be their debut or this one, Hometown Jive. So yeah, this is Kung Fu Diesel, Hometown Jive. All right, sticking in the 90s, but definitely not an independent release. This, and I'm probably going to get some heat for even showing this one, but you know what? Whatever. This is Play by Moby. Came out in 1999. Actually, I think May 99, so it's celebrating its 25th, or has just celebrated its 25th anniversary. It came out on V2 Records, I think it was. And I believe this was his fifth album. And this particular release, so this is the 2000 release with Southside with Gwen Stefani, the duet with Gwen Stefani. And, you know, honestly, I've never, obviously I know, you know who Moby is. I know who Moby is and have for too long. But we were on a road trip down to Kentucky recently. I heard Southside. It's like, you know what, why not add that? And stopped into Half Price Books, and there it is. So for a couple of bucks, I got it. Anyway, yeah, so this was his like commercial breakthrough album with, like I said, Southside, and I guess Porcelain was another decent hit. Yeah, overall it was okay. You know, again, I got this for Southside. Porcelain, like I said, was okay. The rest of the album was just sort of meh. But yeah, I don't know. I'm glad I have it for Southside. My wife likes that song, so at least there's that. But yeah, so for what it's worth, here's Play by Moby. All right, here is another independent release. This is not from the 90s. This actually came out in 2007. This is called The One Within by The Ghost in the Machine. And this is a indie, or was an indie, industrial metal sort of band out of Wisconsin. And the guys in the band, you know, they've got names like C4, Face, RJ, or no, DJ RJ. So yeah, you're kind of getting the sound that's very similar to bands like Powerman 5000, Union Underground, Rob Zombie a little bit. But again, there's also tracks on here like Invincible, and I think it's The One You Love. Yeah, The One You Love. That's like straight up techno. So yeah, it's a little uneven, but you know, I still think I still kind of dig it. If you want to check out some tracks, King of My World is a very heavy White Zombie-ish sort of track. Pieces of Eight is a real moving techno raver, man, and it's about pirates, so that's fun. And then they do a real heavy techno cover of ZZ Top's Sharp Dressed Man, which is actually pretty good. If you can find a copy or a clip of that somewhere online, give that a shot. That was a really interesting tune. But yeah, I don't know if I've said this. This is the band's third album, not on vinyl, so you're going to have to get this on CD if The Ghost in the Machine is interesting to you. So yeah, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I think it's worth checking out. So this is The One Within by Ghost in the Machine. This next one, when I came across this one, it was just like one of those, oh man, I remember this band, and had to pick it up. And it's This Beautiful Life by Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. And this came out in 1999 on Interscope Records, and I think this was their third album. And they're a swing revival band out of California. Maybe it was San Francisco. Not really exactly sure where in California. But they scored a big hit with You and Me and the Bottle Makes Three from the album previous to this one. So this album does not have that song on it. But yeah, you know, for me growing up, you know, my dad, you know, I came along a little late apparently, and you know, my dad was bit into the big band, swing, Glenn Miller, Artie Shaw sort of music, and so I kind of grew up, or at least when I first started becoming aware of music in the household, that's what was on the stereo. And so bands like this, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Cherry Poppin' Daddies, those bands, hell, even Brian Setzer, the things that Brian Setzer does, even with the Stray Cats, I just kind of like that. It's just kind of got a soft spot for that. If you want to check out what they're all about on this album, look for Who's That Creeping, or Some Things, or Big Time Operator. Those are pretty good tracks. You know, this is enjoyable, but honestly, if you're not into swing revival, this is, you know, you're probably not gonna dig this. But if you are, you know, give it a shot. So yeah, this is The Beautiful Life by Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Here is another indie release. This came out in 2006, self-released, I believe, and it is the self-titled album from a band called Wired. And this again is not on vinyl. You're gonna have to get the CD if you're interested in this. We'll talk about that in a minute. So yeah, Wired were a band. I'm going to have to hold this in here because all the teeth are freaking broken. I hate that. Wired were an AC/DC tribute band out of Texas. And when they put this together, this was, sounds exactly like you'd expect it would sound. And it is definitely, if you're a fan of 70s, 80s era AC/DC, and you were looking for a lost AC/DC album, hoping for a lost AC/DC album, this might be it. Another Shot has a great blues groove to it. Backdoor reminds me a lot of Giving the Dog a Bone. And Burn Bitch Burn is a definite tip of the hat to For Those About to Rock. And these are all originals, no covers. So again, it sounds like some like AC/DC tracks you've never heard. But yeah, you know, I think this one definitely punches above its weight. So if you are at all a fan of AC/DC, give this one a try. See if you can find it. Now, a year after this came out, I believe they switched their name to Stripwired and re-released this with the new name, again, still self-titled as Stripwired. Same cover art and everything, but so it's either Wired or Stripwired. If you can find this album and you're an AC/DC fan, give it a shot. So yeah, self-titled by Wired. And finally for this update, I was at a library sale just a couple weekends ago and picked this one up for $1. And I think a fair number of you will probably say I paid $1 too much for it. But this is You've Come a Long Way, Baby by Fatboy Slim. And this came out in 1998, yeah, on Astroworks. So another 90s album. And so yeah, Fatboy Slim, aka Norman Cook, British producer and DJ. The album before this one, this is his second album, so his debut album was kind of a commercial success, but this one really broke him worldwide on the power of the hits, the Rockefeller Skank, which that was a super hit, and I challenge you not to get that Funk Soul Brother lyrics stuck in your head. Praise You was the other big hit on this album too. Right Here, Right Now, I actually enjoyed that song or track pretty well. I love that mellow sort of groove to it, just kind of a little bit of an exotic melody going on. I thought that was fun. But the song that really stood out, other than the hits to me, was Soul Surfing. Really dig the whole doo-wop sort of early rock and roll groove, and that's helped a lot along the way by how he sampled the Olympics. So I don't know, I really enjoyed that song. But other than that, you know, this was, to me, was just kind of an okay album. I don't know, I kept feeling that this was sort of an homage to Art of Noise. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm not well versed in this sort of, or in this genre of music, so maybe there's a lot more going on here than I realized. But it is what it is. That's what I heard. So, yep. You've Come a Long Way, Baby. Fatboy Slim. All right, well, that will wrap it up for the CD additions to the collection in May of 2024. Thank you to everyone for watching and for liking, subscribing, leaving comments. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. So yeah, until next time, have fun, stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon.